Hey everybody, today we are going to be playing mono red in standard. This is your standard mono red build. It has 8 creatures, 3 removal spells, a bunch of lands, and you are all out attacking. We're going to go card by card to show what exactly each card does, but in general, you will be attacking every single turn, putting as much pressure on your opponent as you can, and then finishing the game with either one of the bigger haste creatures at the end of your mana curve, or something like Burst Lightning to do direct damage and finish them off. So, looking at the creatures on the 1-drops, we have Burnout Bastronaut. This is a 1/1 menace. Start your engines. You could pay 2 to give this creature +1/+0 until end of turn. And if you have max speed, which you will because you'll be attacking every single turn, this creature ends up with double strike. So when it has double strike and menace, it becomes a real hard creature to block, effectively at least. Hired Claw has been in the mono red builds for quite a while. This is a 1 mana 1/2. Whenever it attacks, or another lizard you control attacks, but we only have this one, it will deal 1 damage to target opponent. You can pay 2 to put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, only if your opponent lost life and only once per turn. So the normal play pattern is you attack with it, ping them for 1, pay the 2 mana, and then you can get the counter right away, and they can deal 2 damage up front. Kellen is a one-of. It is a legendary creature, and really we just really want 9 1-drops. It's a 1 mana 2/1, and then you can pay additional mana. You could pay 2 mana to make it a scout, and then you can pay 3 mana once it's a scout to be a detective. And then it becomes a 3/2 with double strike. In the 2-drops, we have Emberheart Challenger, again a standard, a staple of mono red. This is a 2 mana 2/2 with haste and prowess, and if it becomes the target of a spell or ability, you get to look at the top card of your library and then play it that turn. Really, the only thing that we have to trigger that is 4 copies of Reckless Village, Rockface Village, which we'll talk about later on. But just know that that's the only way of triggering it here. This trigger isn't going to happen most of the time. 2 mana, both red, for a 2/2 with first strike on your turn when it would be attacking, and whenever your opponent draws a card, it deals 1 damage to them. Screaming Nemesis is again another staple of mono red, so these are the cards that you don't mind buying into. This is a mythic rare, and so for budgetary reasons, this is something that will be a little bit harder to either create or buy. But you'll know once you have this will be a staple for all your red aggressive decks, whether it's mono red. Screaming Nemesis also finds a home in Gruul, so you can definitely be sure that you're going to be using this. 3 mana, 3/3 haste. That's already probably enough to be playing it, but whenever this creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to another target. And again, it says target, so this is creature, planeswalker, or to the face of your opponent, right? And if a player is dealt damage this way, they can't gain life for the rest of the game. So it turns off one way of them kind of looking to kind of counterattack this fast red deck is by gaining life. That won't be a problem with Screaming Nemesis. We have 2 copies of Tursa Lightshatter. This is another 3 mana 3/3 haste, and when this enters, you can discard up to 2 cards, and then you draw that many cards. So if you're drawing extra lands on the way up your curve, this is a nice curve topper to kind of get rid of any extra lands that you don't need, or smaller creatures that no longer fit the battlefield and you want to get the bigger ones, or you're digging for a removal spell. This is certainly something that you can use for those purposes. When this attacks, if there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, again, remember, you may have discarded 2 cards there, but if there's 7 or more cards in your graveyard, exile a random card in your graveyard, and then you may play that card for this turn. So another great kind of card advantage card. It won't put cards into your hand in a normal way. That's not really Red's flavor, but it will let you play cards back from the graveyard. So this one, the normal play pattern is you're tapping 3 to play it with haste, and it's going to attack that first turn, you may not have the mana to bring anything back at random from your graveyard. But if it attacks the following turn, you will have the mana there. And the last creature, it is a 5 mana play, but you can warp it in for 3. This is a 4/5 flying in haste, and when it enters, whether it enters from warp or from casting it, you deal 1 damage to target creature an opponent controls. So it's a nice way to just get a little creature out of the way on the 3 mana spot and hit for a little bit of damage, then play it later on. The haste really makes up for the fact that your opponent will know it's coming, because they'll know it's coming, but they're not going to have that setup turn where you're going to play it and they're going to use sorcery speed removal on it. They're going to need either instant speed removal or they're going to just take that hit really quickly. The 3 spells that we have for removal, first is Burst Lightning, which is an amazingly flexible card. For 1 mana, it deals 2 damage. For 5 mana, it deals 4 damage. Remember, these are to any target, and so that is for your creatures or planeswalkers and going to the face. So for 1 mana, this might this might kill an early Llanowar Elf to stop a green deck from ramping. 4 mana is enough to kill like Vivi in the mid game, and then you can always use this to go to the face at the end of the game if you just need to push through the last points of damage. We also have Obliterating Bolt, 2 mana, sorcery speed, but it deals 4 damage to creature or planeswalker, and it exiles it, so it's not just going to the graveyard. And then Fiery Annihilation. This is 5 mana, and it does the same thing. Kill a target creature, it becomes exiled. This also has the upside of killing an equipment that is attached, but that doesn't come up very often. There's only 3 of the Fiery Annihilation and 4 of the rest of them. The lands are pretty basic, mostly mountains. Rockface Village is a land that comes in untapped, right? It taps for colorless, and it also taps for red as long as it's a creature spell, of which we have many. And then you can pay red and tap this to give target lizard, mouse, which is all we need in our deck, +1/+0, and haste until the end of the turn. So anything that doesn't have haste, we could give haste, but it also triggers the Valiant trigger for Emberheart Challenger, and it makes your Hired Claws that much bigger to be able to get in for an attack. And it gives Hired Claws haste if you pull them later on in the game. The last land is Soulstone Sanctuary. This is just a colorless land, comes in untapped. You could pay 4, and this land becomes a 3/3 creature with vigilance and all creature types. So this is a mouse and a lizard for those interactions with the village, but it's basically a man land that makes a 3/3 that can go ahead and attack. That's all that we have in the deck. We're going to get started with gameplay right away and see how this deck fares. Okay, so we're going to play right now. I'm going to grab the mono red deck and just jump in. It's a very aggressive deck. It needs to be putting on the pressure at all times. You don't want to be sitting back on your heels. If you're sitting back on your heels, you probably already lost the game, right? So there's no reason to be on the back foot. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, and 3, right? So this looks like a great hand to get started. Starter Engines becomes really big if it's unchallenged. If your opponent plays a lot of removal and can get these little creatures off the battlefield fast, it becomes much more of a hard play. But if you get this going after 4 hits, right, like your opponent's not going to be around for too much longer. So we'll go ahead and get the Starter Engine going. This 3-drop, like what we're going to play on 3, we will probably see, but it's probably going to be Screaming Nemesis. That's usually the 3-drop you're looking for. Okay, and this is a little bit of a slow start by my opponent. Doesn't matter which land we go with, so let's go with this. We will play the haste and prowess, and we will attack with everybody. My opponent will not be blocking with this Llanowar Elf. Traveling a Chocobo, so he gets a look at the top. It's a land, and a Zaya's Chocobo. Okay, so what can we do? We could play a 3-drop and attack all. We could play the Challenger and a Burst Lightning. Kill one of the creatures. He's not going to want to block with the Chocobo, right? Because it's going to grow. So that would be 3, 3, and 1. That would be 7 points of damage. The Chocobo would grow next turn. I like that plan. So we go Challenger. Burst Lightning off the traveling Chocobo. Attack for 7. My opponent's not going to want to take all these hits too far. See, the max speed, we are already at max speed 3, but my opponent's already at 10 life. So the idea that max speed is the goal that you're looking for, like your opponent has to be down before this gets to 4 anyway. So let's see. So this is going to be a 4-4. This is going to be a 2-3. We have Fiery Annihilation to kill either one. Okay. So we can go Fiery Annihilation this. These become 3/3s. If he wants to double block on one of them, he certainly could. Otherwise, what else would we be doing? I don't think there's reasons for anything else here. He's not going to want to block. Now he could double block if that's what he chooses. And he might double block these two on this one. Okay. Now this has double strike and menace, which means he's going to have to block with 2, and you're going to be able to pick one of them off. If he blocks incorrectly, he's going to have to watch his blocks on this. We'll see what he does. We're going to have a haste creature next turn, and he's not going to want to block with a big creature. Drawing the card is great, but he did have to spend a decent amount of mana. Okay. Okay, so he's going to eat one of our challengers this turn, right? If he does, what happens? We go Screaming Nemesis attack. He can't block the Nemesis. He can't block the Bastronaut, right? So he's taking 4. If that's what happens, he's taking 4, losing his Llanowar Elf, and eating one of our creatures. I think that's pretty good, right? Alternatively, oh wait, he can't block this because otherwise we'll get the redirect of the damage. So we attack with everything. So I assume he blocks here and here. Takes 4. Okay, he's going to go to 1. Which makes this menace all the more deadly. We have another haste creature coming, so he would have to somehow put out 2 creatures. And drawing a card is not going to be as helpful as he thinks it's going to be. It's just too much mana being spent. He needs to deploy more resources. He can go creature, he could go land and a But like, you're dead on board, right? Because we're going to attack with 3, and you can't really block this. Yep. Yep, and he's going to concede here. Okay. That is the power of putting your aggression forward, right? If my opponent had 2 more turns, he would have been able to stabilize. But the idea is you don't have that many turns. You're just pushing out damage after damage to where when you're playing a creature that takes an extra turn to set up, you don't have that extra turn. You just have to be able to chump block really quickly. We'll get right back into a second game here. Aggressive red decks are not my specialty. They're not the playstyle that I usually enjoy playing if it's just for my own enjoyment. If it's, you know, at the end of the day and I'm just playing Magic for fun, this is not exactly what I'm used to playing. I'm used to being on the opponent side of this, but it is fun to kind of see both sides. We'll start with the Menace. We'll get this, start your engines going. It's usually for like the second one, not for the one that you just played. They have a 3/3 that is coming through eventually, but we'll just go ahead and put a haste creature on and try to get in. Yep, first lightning. Makes sense. Next turn we'll be doing the same thing. We'll be putting in the Challenger, and then second main we'll follow up with a Kellen. Lavamancer. Okay. We could bolt it, but I don't see the need for that yet. We're going to hold up that we have something. So if he just has a Burst Lightning, he might not be able to play it. Okay. We'll play Kellen. Now if he has Burst Lightning, he'll go ahead and play it. This Bolt will just be able to kill this after we pay for the ward. But this would be the entire turn if that's all we do. Okay, lightning strike. Okay, so we get this out of the way. So the card's not going to matter for Kellen here. Not this turn anyway. We get this out of the way and we have 2 mana to play with, but not much to do with it. We could get +1. Does not have a trick there. We'll attack first. Do we take the damage or do we get ready to do this Kellen? Let's do the Kellen. Long term, I think that'll be better. Opponents have 1 card. This has double strike. Kellen will be threatening double strike next turn. You can return a lightning strike and kill one of these creatures. No. Okay. Burst lightning. He can hold it up until we spend more mana to try and get us, or he can just go for it right now. Okay. Okay. We could play the creature and attack. Or we could get in the 6 here. I do want to get in the 6. Since this does not have double strike, there's no reason to play it right now. So we make Helen a 3/2. In case we get a land. Do get a land. Now, unfortunately, we can't play that. So we'll play the 2/2 and have the removal spell up next time. So my opponent is pretty far away from Storm Chaser's talent for the last piece. We can deal 5 here. Okay, Fiery Initiation and the Bolt. We attack in to see what's going on. I assume he has a removal spell for one of them. This is 2 mana, right? So he can't attack here. So he only can attack, I mean, he only can block here, right? So if that's all he has, that's fine. But why don't we just do this right now? Okay, so he got to untap. That's fine. But he does have to block. No, he had. Okay, so that is very bad for us. We can play Kellen. He's got no cards. If it's a land, he moves Storm Chaser up. Oh, and he... Never mind. We were down to 5. Okay. Good math on his side. The 1 mana removal spell of just putting it back in our hand did end up getting us there. So while we're getting ready for the 3rd game, we had the removal spell. We could have let him untapped, had him declare the blocker first, right? And then use the removal spell, but then he would have countered it anyway. I don't think it mattered too much there. This is a slow hand on the draw. We're going to keep it to see how it works, but it is a little bit slow. This one does not have haste, so we'll see how this works out. Nemesis might be enough to kind of get us there, but we will see how that works. Okay. Okay. We can go the 1-drop and the 2-drop, or we can just go the 3-drop right now. I think because the 2-drop also has haste, I don't mind leading with this and trying to attack. Start your engines going. So we're already up at 2. Let's see what the opponent's going to do here. This is the bounce deck, so we should be ready for a decent amount of bounce. We do have quite a bit of haste, and so the bounce isn't going to matter too much. If we play the Nemesis, he will just bounce it. But if we attack first, he'll just bounce this, right? So he's going to bounce something, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and just keep a lot of pressure on the opponent if possible. He'll get a lander, but that is going to be 3 more damage and another starter engine. These removal spells are not going to do too much, but this one might be able to go to the face later. I think this turn is the exact same as last turn. Unless we think we go to warp just to be able to get in for the damage, but I don't think so. We could do the 2-drop and the 1-drop. We're limited on red there. Oh, we run it back out. See what happens. Okay. Yep. We build right back. Awkward that we don't have... Here we could attack for 4. Right? But that's not going to get us there. Do we put this in this? Yeah, I think so. The double red is hurting in this game. I don't think it hurts in most games, but this game it is definitely hurting. This will have double strike the rest of the way. He has 2 mana up, so it could be another bounce spell, but we definitely have to try to attack. Okay, we are in the territory where the warp, the attack for 4, and then burst lightning could win the game. So that is something to consider. We could just put a counter here. This could be destroy all creatures. Although destroy all creatures, 4 mana, not the worst right now. Okay. He is going to have to do something, right? He is specifically dead on board right now, but obviously he's going to have something. Okay, so this is just attack. Maybe he miscounted on the double strike there. Not 100% sure. Maybe he thought he had another life to get through that, but he did not. That was a I think if we had more of the haste part of our deck, I think we would have had a little bit better showing in that deck. Though the double red 2/2 with first strike without the haste was a little awkward in our hands there. But we'll go ahead and get this one going. This is Hired Claw into Challenger, and then either a removal spell or a land. Looks like a burst lightning. No, burst power, okay. We'll go right in there with the haste. We'll look to Nemesis next turn, if possible. Okay, second spell. Okay. Sleight of hand and burst lightning for the second spell and get a 1/1. That's what he's got. Pretty good. You hate to use like a bolt on a 1/1 token, but sometimes it's nice to just get it out of the way. That will deal some face damage. So, do we dump 2 lands here? I think we do, right? Yeah. Okay, that's 5. We have the haste creature, but that was too much pressure. And opponent had some good ideas there with playing multiple spells. The spells that definitely cost less, so that you could play 2 spells and get some kind of value out of it, are a great way of attacking mono red. Opponent just probably had the wrong mix of spells in his hands. Which certainly makes some sense. We're going to get into this game 5 here. And let's see how it goes. So far, the deck has felt very good. It is obviously not my playstyle and not exactly what I'm used to, but I did enjoy it anyway. Opponent going first, so a little bit slower of a hand. Okay, he did mulligan, so this is a Hired Claw on 1, maybe Needlehead on 2. And so all the maybe on 2s or whatever, but then you draw the haste creature, and it's like, you know, there's a lot of things you could do on 2, but you're just going to get the haste in there if possible. And it was a counter spell, and that's fine. And your opponent definitely has his part of the game to be playing too, right? Like, you don't get to just dictate only on your side of the board. We are going to do the same play and get in for 2 first, if possible. There's not much, but if he did flash on a blocker, we would have the chance to burst lightning if that's what we choose. But we will go ahead and try and play this 2-drop. Okay. Okay, he is playing the 2/1. I assume that means he's not destroying more creatures this turn. Oh, maybe he is. The attack there. Maybe he is. No, it's a ninjutsu. Okay.
I learned something out of the shadows and into the fray.
Okay. Gonna draw a card, lose a life.
Now I know your weakness.
We don't love this card. It is going to kind of stop us from our game plan, because we're gonna have to take a turn off to kill this. Without another land, it becomes a problem. This always is dealt to the opponent. So what we can do is attack here and attack there.
This is not how I die.
And then burst lightning. And then throw another Hired Claw. Now's the point where destroy all creatures becomes a big problem. Nowhere to run will just destroy one. Makes sense, the one that hurts him for drawing cards. Okay, land is very good there. Possibility for a counter spell. We're going to have to play into it anyway. Oh no, he has a flash creature, right? So he may just flash out that, which is fine. We're going to be dumping one or two of these fiery annihilations. If he blocks there, so this is 4 damage, right? So if he blocks there, it's only 2 damage. Let's go haste. We'll go ahead and get rid of fiery annihilations, see what we have. Okay, flashes in the 2/1 and kills one of the hired claws. Okay, that. Okay. And he's looking to try to do the same play next time. He kills this. Yep, but we have haste. And so he could definitely kill this with a removal spell, but blockers are going to make it harder because it's going to reflect the damage. Yep. Keep the pressure on. He's going to chump block. No. He can put it back in our hand. Okay. We are looking for a burst lightning to go to the face. He does have some counter spells though, right? So that is not guaranteed to work either. He will get the better of the draw as we go along. Okay, he's drawing cards there. He's going to see this coming from a mile away, so we're not going to be able to trick him with this. We'll put it out there and have him not notice. That's not going to happen. But haste creature, could he not be ready for it? It's possible. We'll drop the 2 mountains anyway. We did get the burst lightning. Assume he's got a bounce. Okay. 1 mana. Do we burst lightning right now? Yeah, there's no 1 mana counter, right? No, we go to the face. There you go. Okay. Burst lightning to the face, usually to end the game, is usually the 5 mana 4 damage, kind of lava axe-ish card that you're using. Not normally the 2 damage, but we'll definitely take it. And so let's wrap up and talk about this deck for a second. So that was 5 games. That was 4-1 with mono red aggro. Is it the best deck in Standard? Well, I don't think it's the best deck in Standard. There's still a little bit of wiggle room that we need to do with the deck. Needlehead was a great main deck card against control decks because it's dealing 1 damage for each land, but the lack of haste in addition to the double red where we're playing these Soulstone Sanctuaries made the card very clunky. And so that's one card for sure that I would be looking to upgrade. And that may be the 2-mana mouse. And have a little bit more Valiant, maybe not. It could be another creature with Warp that has 2-drop that can get in there. Not 100% sure where we go there. The Bastronaut, the Higher Claw, even Kellen, all of those performed really well. The 2-mana Challenger, really well. Nemesis is an amazing card. Light Shatter. This was a pretty good card too, right? I think it performed really well. Sometimes just ditching cards to kind of take a redraw, and having the 3/3 was really good. We didn't see the Nova Hellkite as often as we would have liked, so this is still in for testing. The removal spell, I think Fiery Annihilation was a little underwhelming in those games, but the more you like Light Shatter, the more you don't mind Annihilation, because if you have it in your hand, you could go ahead and ditch it out there. So that was 4-1 with Mono Red. I'm sure we'll play it again with a few changes. I will have the deck list below if this is something that you're interested in. And if you like content like this, please let me know. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below, let me know what you think about this deck, let me know if there's any changes that you have. If you have a specific list, please post it below so we can take a look at it and see what it is. We are looking for lists that are specifically a little bit more budget conscious, although there were quite a few rares creature-wise in this deck, but if you do have any budget alternatives, please put them below, and that helps the community that may not have as many wild cards. The last thing, if you want to support the channel, below there is an Amazon affiliate link. It is of no cost to you, but if you go ahead and buy Magic product or anything else through that link, we get a few percentages to the channel that helps support us. So thank you everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.